As you may or may not know, I've been away for the last 2 weeks, which has meant that I haven't been able to cover any of the Star Wars gaming news that we've had over the last 14 days. So my next few videos over the next week and a half or two will be playing catch up with all of the news that we've had, and whilst it is old news now, I will feel a lot better having a video out there covering the news, and I also just like to get my thoughts and opinions out there as well. The news that I'll be covering in this video is unfortunately the bad news of the bunch as of late, and that is, as many of you will know, is the fact that the Knights of the Old Republic remake from Aspyr Media has been delayed indefinitely, which means that we now have absolutely no ETA on when the game could release, and neither do Aspyr Media. Jason Schreier was the person to break the unfortunate news with a report that goes into a lot more detail, having spoken to a few people familiar with the project. The game being put on pause was quite the shock to a lot of people, it seems, as the developers were excited and felt really good about where they were with the project. Aspyr then created a demo for their partners at Lucasfilm and Sony for them to test out and feedback on, however they didn't feel like the game was on target, which ultimately led to the game being put on pause. Originally, it seems that the game was due to release towards the end of this year, which when I first read it felt like a punch in the gut, because I would love absolutely nothing more than to see a new Star Wars game this year, but now it's said to be at least 2025 for a more realistic target for the game's release, so in a few years' time. With things not looking good for the KOTOR remake, Aspyr then fired the game's design director and the art director, two major people in the creation and leadership of this game, which means that with the game being put on hold, Aspyr will now need to figure out what's new next with the project and ultimately look for another project to work on whilst this game's on hold. The KOTOR remake is something that I know a lot of people are incredibly excited about, so there is a lot of pressure on Aspyr to deliver something special, and if it means being delayed a few years, then so be it. It's really sad to hear, but we don't want a rushed Star Wars game at the end of the day, so if a delay is what is required to make the game the best it can be, then I'm absolutely okay with it. What I do find interesting though is the game was due to release later this year apparently, which means that it was seemingly close to being finished. And the game has also been in development for 3 years already, so it does seem like a pretty realistic timeframe for the game to release. Obviously now though, the game will likely undergo a big overhaul in certain areas to bring it back up to the standard that Lucasfilm want it to be, so it will now take even longer than probably just a few months when Aspyr get back to working on it, but I just pray that Aspyr can figure things out pretty quickly so that we can get the game as soon as possible. Anyway guys, that is all of the news I have for you today. Whilst it is very unfortunate, I'm going to do my best to put it in the back of my mind and focus on other upcoming projects like Star Wars Hunters and Star Wars Jedi Survivor, as they're the games that will likely release next. Thank you all very much for watching, and may the Force be with you always.